Welcome back to Truth in Transition. I'm Dr. Milton Hasnat, and I'm glad to have you with us. Today, we address the stark realities behind the Eid speech delivered by the interim chief advisor of Bangladesh, Dr. Muhammad Yunus. A speech meant to bring hope instead brought confusion, anger, and even fear. Why? Because it came from a government that is unelected, unconstitutional, and increasingly seen as anti-people and anti-Bangladesh. Let's dive into the truth. This current regime came to power through what many are calling the July Terror and the August Conspiracy. It did not rise through democratic means, it seized power. By its very nature, it bypassed the people's will, violated the constitution, and used violence and manipulation to install itself in office. Those who planned July's violence, executed August's coup, and silenced dissent are now claiming to be the legitimate government of Bangladesh. But make no mistake, they are not representatives of the republic. They are, by definition, enemies of democracy. In short, they are the enemies of the people. The April 2026 election announcement, a deceptive ploy. In a recent address ahead of Eid, the unelected chief advisor announced that national elections would be held in April 2026. Far from offering reassurance, the announcement has intensified public suspicion. Why delay elections so far into the future while political freedoms remain curtailed? Opposition parties are effectively silenced, and democratic institutions continue to function in name only. Notably, this timeline ignores widespread calls for an earlier election. Army Chief General Waqar-uz-Zaman, along with the majority of political parties, including the Bangladesh Nationalist Party (BNP), demanded that elections be held by December 2025. This unified demand was completely disregarded, raising further concerns about the regime's true intentions and commitment to restoring democratic governance. People rightly wonder, will this election ever happen, or is it just a distraction to buy time and normalize their unlawful grip on power? Destruction of national heritage and symbols. Since August 8, 2024, the actions of this interim regime have systematically attacked the very foundation of our republic. They burned down the historic home of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, bought with his personal funds and later donated to the state as a museum. Along with it, they destroyed countless symbols that proved Bangladesh's victory over Pakistan in 1971. Over 100 sculptures of the father of the nation have been desecrated. Evidence of the liberation war has been erased. Veterans and their families are being harassed. This is not just cultural vandalism. This is political warfare. It is a declaration that this regime stands against the birth and identity of Bangladesh. Political ban on the Awami League. The government has declared the Awami League, Bangladesh's largest and most popular political party, illegal. Over 100,000 people have been arrested across the country. More than 100,000 party workers and leaders have fled in fear. Witnesses who testified in war crimes trials are being harassed, even jailed, while known criminals, convicted terrorists, and violent extremists are being released. The intention is clear: destabilize the nation, demoralize its defenders, and weaken its sovereignty. So when this regime speaks of elections, the public knows it's a sham. A stage-managed drama with no credibility. Lies and contradictions in the Eid speech. The Eid speech itself was riddled with contradictions and blatant lies. On one hand, it claimed Bangladesh's economy was on the verge of collapse, worse than a war-torn country. On the other, it falsely boasted that the regime had already restored economic strength. Which is it? It took credit for 16 years of economic and infrastructural progress achieved under the previous government led by Sheikh Hasina, claiming them as their own. It invented imaginary crises and then patted itself on the back for solving them. No wonder the speech became a subject of ridicule across the country, targeting the public, exploiting the nation. Ordinary citizens were not spared. The regime denied the reality of the horrific Eid traffic jams and ticketing chaos. There are indications that the government might cancel the 2.5% remittance incentive for expatriates and propose a 10% tax on foreign income. though this has yet to be officially confirmed. They attacked the fundamentals of a once strong economy. They lied about fuel debts, fabricated stories about foreign investment, and attempted to create a false narrative of economic collapse, just to justify surrendering national assets and sovereignty to foreign powers. Most shockingly, they restricted public access to Bangladesh's only coral island, St. Martin's, essentially showcasing their willingness to trade national dignity for personal or foreign gain. Chittagong Port and the Foreign Agenda. Chittagong Port, a symbol of Bangladesh's self-reliant strength, is now under threat. Foreign forces, unable to control it in the past, are being invited in under the guise of modernization. The people see through this. They know this isn't about development, it's about domination, about turning Bangladesh into a playground for foreign interests. Women, the disabled, and the marginalized under attack. Since the seizure of power, women have suffered the most, along with people with disabilities, religious and ethnic minorities, and freedom fighters. Despite this, the Eid speech included insensitive, even offensive remarks about women and children. These weren't words of compassion, they were insults. And the nation took notice. Corruption and cronyism. Let's not forget the astonishing scale of corruption. Since coming to power, the chief conspirator and his allies have exponentially increased their personal and family wealth. They've forgiven debts owed to the public, awarded lucrative contracts to themselves, and distributed licenses, jobs, and business privileges using loyalty-based quotas. Concerns are growing that Dr. Mohammed Yunus has disproportionately favored his own Grameen Bank and affiliated organizations under the interim administration. Personal staff members of his close advisors have reportedly been identified in connection with the embezzlement of significant sums of public funds. All of this at the cost of ordinary Bangladeshis. How can such a regime be trusted to hold free and fair elections? The real plan, April 2026 or Pakistan 2.0. While the regime claims an election will be held in April 2026, the people believe otherwise. Two possibilities loom. One, the elections will never take place. Delays and excuses will stretch endlessly as the regime continues its illegal rule. Two, or worse, an election will be held not to restore democracy, but to install a puppet alliance between the newly formed NCP and the infamous Jamaat-e-Islami, a backdoor return to a Pakistan-style state. The real goal? To keep both the Awami League and BNP out of power and turn Bangladesh into East Pakistan once again. The people's response, rejection and resistance. But the people of Bangladesh are awake. They are patriotic, religious, freedom-loving. They are not fooled. They have rejected the lies and propaganda of this speech. They refuse to accept a government of traitors and conspirators, and they are ready, body and soul, to defend their country from this deep state betrayal. So as we mark another Eid under this shadow of uncertainty, one truth remains. The fight for Bangladesh's soul has begun. This regime may hold the microphones, but the people hold the truth. Dear audience, I would like to acknowledge that this analysis was inspired by insights shared by Dr. Shamim Ahmed, a respected public health expert and development economist based in Toronto, Canada. Stay strong, stay informed, stay safe. This has been Truth in Transition. Until next time, stay vigilant. Cheers.